aparecendo.
Hi everybody, welcome. This is our second video. We're doing live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45 Pacific time, AM, 12:45 PM. And we're on Brazilian time this morning, so we're starting like 15 minutes late. And my name is Richard Miller, and I'm going to be playing Brazilian music. And so if you want to know why Richard Miller is playing Brazilian music, you can go back to the first video where I explained my whole name, the saga of my name. And so I'd like to start with, I'm going to start with a little Machixe by Chiquinho Gonzaga. That was Gaúcho, or Corta Jaca by Chiquinha Gonzaga, the great Brazilian pianist. She was one of the musicians who created the Brazilian choro, and she is also credited with writing O Abre Alas, which is considered the first samba written. She was a pianist, very interesting figure if you go and study Chiquinha Gonzaga, Chiqui N-H-A Gonzaga. She's very interesting life, very independent woman, and amazing artist and musician. That was my own arrangement of Gaúcho. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about the development of Brazilian music. And I'm going to use this song as an example, take apart some of the elements of it. And I also want to talk about, in terms of learning music, this new thing I saw on a YouTube, which is what I'm calling the 10-second hack. So first, let's talk about the lundu, the polka, and the machixe. So my dissertation was about the guitar in the Brazilian choro, and one of the things that I pieced together was what's the difference between a machixe and a tango brasileiro. And I wrote an article about it, and I'm just going to give you a summary of it. So in the colonial period in Brazil, the African slaves brought a dance from Western Africa called the lundu. And the lundu was a dance done in a big circle. They would do it in the plantations. They would clap, play percussion. I think they would sing also. And they would dance as a group dance. And then once in a while, they would break off into the middle of the circle, and a pair of dancers would show their moves. And some of the moves were considered a little risque, like one of the moves was called the umbigada, and umbigo means belly button. So you can imagine what the umbigada looked like. It was a belly button bounce, and so it was considered risque. But that dance introduced this rhythm that was also introduced to Cuba and all over the world from Africa. It's called, well, I don't know what it's called, but it's the 3 + 3 + 2 African bell pattern. It goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And even today we have. So it's even prevalent today. And so that bell pattern was brought into Brazilian music. And in the 1800s, there's a lot of piano scores from pieces that were most likely played in the salons of the 1800s in Brazil. And they were subtitled lundu. And so the ones that had the subtitle as lundu have this rhythm like that, ta, ta, ta. And so that it became part of the national characteristic sound. And so in 1845 around, the polka made a huge success in Brazil, coming from Eastern Europe. And so there was an encounter with lundu and polka, just like all of the New World brought a mixing of African and European cultures. And the lundu in Brazil introduced entwined stance of a couple dancing together instead of the group dances that were common at the time. And so Brazilians started to mix in some of the moves of the lundu into the entwined stance of the polka, and they created the new dance called machixe. Now you can imagine what an umbigada looks like doing the polka. So the Catholic Church got wind of this dance, and they declared that anybody caught dancing the machixe would be excommunicated. So the machixe is known as the excommunicated dance. And interestingly, I was watching a video about the Titanic, the sinking of the Titanic, and one of the survivors was talking about her little music box that she was able to bring with her. And the music box played was playing a machixe. She didn't pronounce it like that. She said machich. And so it was a big hit all around the world from the 1890s to around 1910 or 20s. The machixe that's when it was operating. In fact, the first samba recorded called Pelo Telefone is considered a machixe rhythm. And so the way it happened musically went like this. The polka has the and the pa, 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 pa. So it goes. So what they did was they took the pa out. That's called a pa-ectomy. And then in place of the pa, they put the rhythm that I just clapped. And then if you want to make it complete, you add some ghost notes. Yeah, so that's my theory on the development of the machixe. And in fact, you can look at the piano scores, and they were entitled Polka Lundu, and that's the kind of rhythm that developed out of that. There were also tango, polka tangos or tango lundus and things. So those tangos, they did the opposite thing. Instead of taking out the pa, they put that rhythm in the and so they kept the pa. So that's well, you hear the pa? That was Brejeiro by Nazaré, another Brazilian pianist, and this is Odeon. So you hear clearly the pa in the accompaniment and that kind of figure. So that's my story. And so now I'd like to talk about the 10-second hack. So it's something that I use to learn pieces so that I can play them effortlessly. So that's the goal. I practice for ease and accuracy, which, according to Kenny Werner, are the two elements of mastery. So and you begin with ease and mastery, with ease and accuracy. And so in other words, it's not something that you practice, and then you master something. No, you begin with mastery. You begin by creating the elements that are going to make it easy and masterful. So I'm going to take this passage. That part, that's always a problem for me. And it's always the part where the percussionists all decide to drop out, and then you're left there hanging, making mistakes. So So what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice it really slowly for 10 seconds, and then I'm going to take a 10-second break. All right, so I'll go. Okay, I don't know if that was 10 seconds, but now I'm going to take a break. So I just drop my hands completely. And then I do it again. Okay, that's it. That's the thing. And I do it several times. So now I'm taking my next 10-second break, and here it is again. So the idea is to like be able to just play it without any effort. So here's one more time. So there was a little crack in that one, so I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, so now it's coming out pretty easily. So that's the idea. You know, I've played this piece for years, so I kind of have that passage down. But that is a little lick that often will trip me up. So I'll always like refresh it like that. So that's my 10-second hack. According to the YouTube video that I saw about this, when you rest for 10 seconds, the brain is actually processing what you just did. And the brain can process it 20 times faster than you can do it physically. So it's really good. And I've tried it out on students. It really increases the focus. So I've tried it out on 5-year-old students, and all of a sudden they get really focused because it's like on and then off. And then when they're on, they're like really focused. So it really helps for all ages. That's my 10-second hack. And I'd love it if anybody has any questions for me. I operate best answering a question. And so even if you have a question when you watch it and it's not live, you can just always send me a message on YouTube and subscribe to my channel. And what else? ¿Qué más? Faço mais uma música para sair? Okay, I'm gonna do a music a song that I just started learning, and so there might be mistakes, and I might pause and do a 10-second little hack to fix parts. But this is Cerrado by Java. that was short because my guitar's out of tune. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's 2 spots that I made a mistake on. So we're going to do the 10-second hack. And what I do when I practice, I just play it through like that, and I just make a mental note of anywhere there was a mistake or a discomfort, a tension, or a confusion in my brain. And I call all of those mistakes, and I treat mistakes like they're my teacher. So they're guiding me about what to practice. Okay, so the first one, when I did the repeat, I was able to do it correctly, but it's this part. That part right there. So that's really tricky part. It really messes with my brain because his singing is so syncopated right there. So right there, so 10-second break. And then I do it again. That's a little spot. So now I'm just gonna isolate it to that little spot. Just that little spot. So 10 seconds, and then I do it again. Okay, I kind of have to put it in context. So here it is, the whole thing. Okay, that was nice. The second part was this part. Okay, so that's kind of hard. I'm not using any bass notes there, so it feels really exposed. But it's I really like this chord here. So I'm doing it really slowly. Okay, 10 seconds off. And then here I go again. Okay, 10 seconds off. Here we go again. That wasn't 10 seconds. I really like get relaxed in those 10 seconds. And then here it goes again. So going back to that's it. So 10-second hack really works. So that's my live for today. I hope you can apply the 10-second hack in your playing. And if you have any questions, subscribe and send me a message. This is Richard Miller. I'm the founder of Balanced Guitar and committed to all things peak performance.